Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So I know it's been a while since I made my last video, but I did watch the Switch 2 presentation and I thought it was generally pretty good what they showed off for most of it. There is some really dumb stuff that they showed off too, but the main thing that's been discussed over the last few weeks is the pricing structure of the games for the Switch 2 and the console itself, obviously. So I was expecting the Switch 2 to be around $400, $350 to $400, but they revealed it to be $450 or $500 if you get the bundle with Mario Kart 9. But the thing is, with the trade war situation going on right now, they did delay the pre-orders to see if they need to adjust the price of the console. This was kind of inevitable for newer consoles. I mean, the PlayStation 5 was what, 600 when it came out, 500, 600, and inflation has just soared since 2020. Like the 2020 to 2024 was one of the largest inflationary periods for currency in the entire world. It was insane. So obviously the prices are going to have to adjust to meet that. Now the thing with Nintendo Switch is, obviously, it's more of a budget console, I would say. You're not getting the same performance, but it's also a handheld, you know. It's kind of comparable to a Steam Deck. I think a Steam Deck is around $500. So the $450 price point doesn't really bother me that much. What most people are going crazy over, though, is the game prices. And they didn't show any game prices in the Nintendo Direct. And I think they did that for a very obvious reason, and that is to avoid the backlash. They wanted all this positive energy right after the Direct happened, and when people went online to see what these games are going to cost, yeah, they weren't too happy. For me personally, I think it was kind of, again, inevitable that games were going to get more and more expensive. Again, inflation has been absolutely insane. So for the longest time, games were $50, and then they were $60, and now they're $70. And Nintendo has finally broken the $70 threshold for $80 and $90 physical. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. Let me go over here and open up some articles, and I will talk about them. So let's see, Switch 2 game cart passkey. I think that was one of the things that I saw that was just like really dumb. Okay, so I have two articles opened up. One of them is Doug Bowser talking about the pricing of Mario Kart, and then I have the actual Nintendo of America page open talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 game key card, which is one of the dumbest things ever. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's go to Doug Bowser first. So Nintendo taking variable approach to pricing with Switch 2 titles. And basically what he said, let me see if I can find the quote. What you see right there is variable pricing. We'll look at each game, really look at the development that's gone into the game, the breadth and depth of the gameplay, if you will, the durability over time, and the repeatability of gameplay experiences. That is like the most corpo market speak ever. Those are all factors, and there's many more that go into consideration of what the right price is for the game. So I think you can anticipate that there will be variable pricing, and we haven't set a benchmark. It's a statement that suggests some Switch 2 titles could retail for less, or perhaps even more, than $80 in the long term. When pressed for what drove the increase, Bowser said it's about the company deciding the right thing to do for its products, or what the pricing should be for its products overall. He explained there was some variability throughout the Switch's life cycle, when that Tears of the Kingdom and its predecessor were 70 and 60 respectively. And then, let's see, I think for us, that's really how we want to proceed and go forward. I can't speak for other games that might be released by other publishers or other platforms. It's more about what we think is right for our content, what is the right value for the consumers as they come into our platform. So, and of course, the tariff stuff down here, of course, that could potentially impact the price of the Switch 2. So the thing that I find dumb about the variable pricing is they're saying that it could be more or less. What we know what that means. The floor is now $70, and then it's only going to increase from there. Now, unlike most people, I don't mind spending $80 to even $100 if the game is really good. What I think the gaming industry is going through with a crisis right now is, I mean, yeah, it is a pricing crisis, of course, because stuff is getting more expensive. Gaming is becoming more of a luxury hobby than it was for the past 10 to 15 years. You know, back in the 90s, this was the norm. Like, you got 1 to 2 games per year, and that was it. Now people buy games all the time, and I think it's going to kind of shift back to being more of a luxury item, where you only get, you know, maybe 3 to 4 games a year that are brand new. But I think the main problem with the gaming industry right now isn't so much the price of the games, it's the perceived quality of the game compared to the price. So when you give somebody like a Baldur's Gate 3, and I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3, but I know it's something that's very beloved, I guarantee you people would be willing to pay $80 for that game. Maybe even $100. And you know why? Because it's a quality game. It has a lot of content, and it doesn't feel rushed. Like, it's a polished product that people want to play. Now, look at anything Ubisoft has made in the past 10 years. And I know I shit on Ubisoft all the time in, like, chats and stuff. But they really are the poster child of just coasting and making the most mediocre, bland, boring, lifeless, soulless, cash grab bullshit. Let's say Ubisoft is literal a slop factory. So they will sell you the game for, you know, $70, and then the complete edition for like $100 or something stupid. And of course people feel ripped off by it. And you know why? It's because it's not a good game. So I don't think it's really a problem with the pricing per se. I think it's more the quality, the perceived quality of the game versus the price. Now, the problem for the industry, and this is outside of Nintendo, I'm going to go on a little tangent here, but the problem with the industry is that development times and the amount of staff on a game has gotten so bloated that to even recoup most of the development costs, they're having to inflate these prices to insane numbers, plus add in their microtransactions and everything else. And now you get to a point where it's like, oh, it only sold a few 100,000 copies. That game's a failure. You know, it's crazy. The fact that, you know, back in the day, 100,000 copies was huge. Now 100,000 copies for a big game is, wow, you just failed, like, miserably. It's gotten pretty ridiculous. So yeah, I think for the pricing in the gaming industry, of course, it is going to go up as the costs go up. What I would suggest, or what I would like to see the industry do, is move back to game development that we had, you know, 10 to 15 years ago, but probably longer at this point, where it's smaller studios and you're not really focused so much on the insane levels of detail and graphical fidelity or whatever. To me, like, Nintendo is the best console manufacturer, game publisher, when it comes to just, like, they make games that are fun, and that's about it, you know. A lot of people will sit there and say that they make, like, the best games of all time in the past generation. I don't think so. I don't really care for, you know, Zelda Breath of the Wild as much as older Zelda titles, but I can recognize it's a quality product. And like Kirby and all that, I just like Nintendo. And I feel like their mentality is good when it comes to making games. They make games that are fun. They make games that, you know, they don't take 500 hours to complete. You can beat it in, you know, 10 to 20 hours, but they're so fun, you want to replay them, and then they have extra content. And as far as I'm aware, they don't sit there and do, like, ridiculous DLC and microtransactions in most of their games. So that's something that I've always kind of admired about Nintendo over the last generation. Like, to me, the Switch was just miles ahead of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and even the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles. Like, Nintendo has been knocking it out of the park for the last generation. But here's the problem with the Switch 2. They are making so many missteps already. And a lot of people pointed this out. I didn't even think about it until I saw a few videos pointed out. Nintendo is entering their everything needs to be online era. And that is with the capture button being so prominently featured. And by the way, the game capture, like, it's cool. You're finally going to be able to talk to your friends and do voice chat or whatever. But it looks like dog shit when you're watching people play the games and it's streaming at like 10 frames per second for everybody's display on the bottom. I'm just like, they seriously thought that this is what people want for streaming their games to their friends or whatever. Why not just integrate Discord? And I know why. It's because they want more money, you know. And that's the thing. Another thing about Nintendo is they feel like they're really price gouging. Not really, well, I don't know about price gouging, but nickel and diming people. I don't know. They want every penny from everybody. So they're trying to roll everything into their Nintendo Online service. And if this were something like Sony or Microsoft, I might be a little less harsh on it. But because it's Nintendo and their online service is literally the worst and always has been, you can go back to the Nintendo Wii and try to play fucking Smash Brothers on there. It's never been particularly great. So the fact that they're shifting so heavily towards online is really disappointing to me. And another thing in the Switch presentation was the fact that they're not even going to have a pack-in game, apparently, and they showed off this damn digital manual with tech demos. And it was funny because I was watching it and I was like, you know, this kind of looks terrible. It looks stupid. And then they had the gall to come out and say, oh, we're charging money for a fucking interactive PDF. You want to pay us $10 fucking for an interactive PDF? Go right ahead. No, fuck you. I'm not buying a fucking PDF on my Switch 2 for a first game. Are you insane? Yeah. But anyway, let's get back to the current stuff. Yeah, I won't rant on that too much. Because again, overall, I really like the presentation. I think Donkey Kong looks fantastic. Mario Kart looks fun. I like that they're adding new stuff into the old games, even though it's going to cost stupid amounts of money. So yeah, let's go to the other thing that really makes this whole thing, situation pricing-wise, just really stupid. And that is the Nintendo Switch 2 game key cards. So I don't know if you remember back with the Switch 1, where when you bought some games, it would say that half the game is on the cartridge and you had to download the other half. One of the dumbest things ever. Why make a physical copy if you can't play the game right out of the box? Like, that's the whole point of a physical copy, is to have the fucking game on a card. But no, they're even worse now. So, the Nintendo Switch 2 game key cards. Let's see. Game key cards are different from regular game cards because they don't contain full game data. Instead, the game key card is your key to downloading the full game to your system via the internet. What the fuck? Why? They already showed off the digital, like, sharing your game library. If you're gonna make a physical box, just put the fucking game on the SD card. And the thing is, look, I know why it's not. It's because the cartridge sizes aren't, you know, big enough for some games. I get that, kind of. But if that's the case, don't make a fucking physical edition. It's not rocket science, Nintendo. What the fuck are you doing? And, like, they have this thing on the bottom. Yeah, this is a game key card. To download the game, an internet connection and enough free space in your Nintendo Switch 2 system memory or microSD express card are required. Insert it into the system. Download the game. The game itself isn't included on the game key card. Why the fuck do you want to buy a fucking cartridge? Do you have to put in your system to download the game? Why? Just buy it digitally. You're not getting any benefit from having the fucking game key card bullshit. Because you can actually transfer your games now through their little cartridge service, at least if I thought of that right. I don't know. Am I going crazy here? Or does this not sound like the dumbest thing that I have ever seen? You're literally buying an inconvenience. You pay more for an inconvenience. And when I say pay more, they're saying that physical copies of games could be up to $10 more than buying it digitally. So make it make sense. Make it make sense. It makes no fucking sense why I would buy these stupid ass little game cards that don't have any data on them, so I even have to go through the inconvenience of putting it into the Switch 2 to play the fucking game when I could just download it and play it and not have to worry about finding my tiny little game card. So yeah, killed a lot of hype for the Switch 2. I was pretty hyped for it. I will admit, I was losing my shit at some of the stuff. You know, they showed they're finally bringing GameCube games, and that's another thing that was kind of dumb as well. They're bringing like 3 or 4 GameCube games at the beginning. 3 or 4 fucking GameCube games. Why, Nintendo? Now, the games are good. They're damn good games. You're getting Wind Waker, you're getting F-Zero, you're getting Soul Calibur, and I think maybe one more. I need to look it up and see if there was 4 games. But yeah, I was really excited to see that, you know, people are going to get to play F-Zero. Of course, I'm really into emulation, so I play it through emulators. But for those people that want to play on a system, hey, you can play F-Zero GX now. That's really cool. But, man, it's so hard to, like, really be a Nintendo fan. And I've always been harshly critical of Nintendo when it comes to their stance on emulation and how hard they go against ROMs of 30 to 40-year-old games at this point. But my God, man, they had it. Nintendo Switch 1, to me, was probably the best Nintendo console ever made. Had a fantastic library. When you count all the games they ported from the Wii U, and then all the games on the online service, the Switch is an amazing little console. Now it has a lot of problems for performance and third-party games, obviously. Even some first-party games. I'm looking at you, Game Freak, with your shitty-looking Pokemon games that run at 10 frames per second and look like they were a beta PS2 build. But yeah, I love the Switch. I fucking hate Nintendo as a company, but I love the Switch. And to see the Switch 2, again, I was so excited for this thing. Man. And they knocked so much of it out of the park. Donkey Kong, the Bonanza, looks so good. I thought the From Software game looked cool, and then they announced it was multiplayer only, or a multiplayer game, and I kind of lost interest there. But hey, it still looked pretty cool. Demon X Machina 2 or whatever looked cool. They had a lot of cool looking shit. Metroid Prime 4 looks great. Mario Kart looks fun. You know, I would feel greedy for asking for more games as a launch lineup. And I can't forget fucking Hyrule Warriors, the Age of Imprisonment or whatever it's called. I thought that Age of Calamity was better than Breath of the Wild. And I know people are going to look at me like I'm fucking nuts for saying that. But I really like the story and cutscenes of Age of Calamity, aside from, you know what happens. It would be much better if they just stuck to what happened in Breath of the Wild and lore or whatever. But I finished Breath of the Wild because of Age of Calamity, and I feel like it's going to be the same way with Tears of the Kingdom and Age of Imprisonment, I think is what it's called. I'm probably going to play that and be like, oh man, this is really good. Let me go out and finally pick up Tears of the Kingdom, and then I'll play it and be like, I don't really care for it, but I'll beat it anyway because it's Zelda, you know. But yeah, so much that I loved seeing. all of it looks so good, aside from the stupid PDF manual thing. Oh yeah, and the wheelchair basketball, whatever the fuck. But yeah, when it comes to the games and the design of the console, of course they cheaped out with the fucking Joy-Cons again. You don't get Hall Effect sticks. You're gonna have Joy-Con drift every 5 fucking months or less. But I don't know. I was so hyped after that presentation, and then I go online and I see the prices, and of course I'm unhappy with the prices, but at first I was like, I get it, prices are going to be higher, and then they say the variable pricing thing, and I'm just like, this is so fucking stupid, and then I see the game cards that don't even have the fucking game on the card, and I'm over here just like, what the fuck are they doing? They had it. I was so ready to be like, Nintendo is the best ever for this next generation. And they fucking blew it. At least for now. Like, I don't know. I want to love Nintendo. I want to love all their games. They make good games. Like, genuinely. For most of them anyway. Game Freak is still... figuring out what the fuck, how to make a game for something that's not a handheld. Well, I guess it still is a handheld. You know what I mean. They're still stuck in the fucking 2001 era when it comes to learning how to make a game look decent. But yeah, like everything else, I like pretty much all of the Nintendo stuff. I know people love Breath of the Wild. I think it's kind of mid, but I can respect it, at least, you know. But yeah, I really wanted to love Nintendo Switch 2. I was pretty hyped for it. And when I first saw people talking about the price hike, I was even like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I get it, it's a higher price, but games are trending upwards, and I think they're going to hit a ceiling of like $90 to $100 per game. I don't want to see that, of course. Like, I don't like that the price is going up. I'm not saying, yes, please raise the price. I want to pay more money. No, that's not what I'm doing. But I thought it was inevitable, so I was like, what's the big deal? You know? And then I saw that, now, you know, fucking Mario Kart is $80, but then this game is $70. Oh, yeah. One more thing before I end the video. I know this has been a 20-plus minute rant now. One thing that I find so fucking goddamn stupid is, okay, why am I buying a Switch 2? I mean, obviously it's for better games, right? But part of why you buy the Switch 2 is you're going to have better hardware to run games better and help them look better, right? Well, they're charging a fucking tax on the games, essentially, because they run and look better. Like, okay, Breath of the Wild on the Switch, $60, right? I bought it day one. It's been so long ago, I don't fucking remember. Let's say $60. I believe when you buy them on the Switch 2, they're going to be $80. Now, they try to justify it by packaging in some bullshit. Like, the Breath of the Wild has, like, a fucking app or something. I don't know. When Nintendo tries to do online in any form, they're always the fucking worst. They try to make it go through the stupid apps and all this other bullshit. But yeah, they add in this tiny little thing. Oh, well, that's $20. Now you can play the game, you know, in a decent fucking frame rate where it's not dropping, you know, to 15 to 25 FPS in certain situations. No, now you're playing at 60. Yay! I bought the new console for that. Why am I having to pay a fucking premium just to use the horsepower of the fucking console that I bought? It makes no sense. Ugh. And I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be the same way. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's going to be 60 on the Switch or whatever, and like 80 on the Switch 4. Or not Switch 4, Switch 2. Prime 4. I'm clearly sleep deprived and a little too animated right now. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. The whole Switch 2 version. Just give us a fucking patch. Stop being fucking greedy and stingy and stupid. But yeah, anyway, ran over. That's my general thoughts on the Switch 2. Again, I want to be a lot more positive and be like, everything looks amazing, because genuinely, most of it, like 90% of that Direct, looked great. And of course, they left out all the stupid bullshit that came afterwards, which was the pricing and the damn game key cards. But yeah, that's why everybody's pissed at Nintendo. That's why well, not the only reason why I'm pissed at Nintendo. But yeah, that's generally what's been happening over the last few days, and I just wanted to talk about it because I haven't made a video in a while, and this is something that I've been thinking about, you know, off and on for the past, I don't know, I guess it's been about a week now. So yeah. Anyways, if you liked the video, like the video. Dislike the video, if you dislike the video, but leave me a comment telling me why you dislike the video so I can make better videos in the future. Let me know what you think of the Switch 2 pricing situation and all of that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.